Okay, now, everyone heard it. I was told to press all the buttons.
Yes, all the buttons.
So just so you know, it's not my fault. In my defense, I was left unsupervised. Actually, in this case, I was left supervised. That made it worse. So, hello, and welcome to Pack Tactics Season 3. This is a homebrew Dungeons & Dragons campaign. It is 5th edition, but there are heavy elements of Spelljammer in it because Spelljammer. We had the opportunity to have kobolds in space, dagnabbit. How could I pass that up? How could any of us pass that up? It would be a crime against kobold kind if we passed that up. So, with that said, I am joined tonight by a bunch of incredibly awesome people, including Archbeth hanging out in chat, Ellie, Eo, Jen, Matt, and Cindy. And, what exactly happened last week?
We met an official that
I hate
to punch.
bureaucracy.
Bureaucracy is not always bad. That official is. Zenosha may be considering plans that involve poison mushrooms.
It's okay, I have plans too.
But yeah, we talked to him. Their plans were just to put the lizard folk in prison for an undisclosed amount of time, because apparently we're not resurrecting a lot of people. So Zenosha called in some favors from Marwise saying, hey, we kind of made a promise to these people. Now, what's his name, Vix, is trying to make us liars. Can you help us out? So they're probably somewhere back on Circulus thanks to Marwise's intervention. And then we decided to go back to the 2 buildings that we hadn't entirely cleared out before to track down the 3 neogi that got away, because we're under the impression that the Warforged who want to live there are going to be kicked out unless they can kill the final remaining creatures. So we're going to try to help them out, find the remaining neogi,
And
kill the
them.
neogi, and let the Warforged say they did it. And so we tried to track down the neogi. We found an abandoned moonbeam building full of lizard folk. We saw there were enough of them that we're confident they're not mind-controlled, and so we left them be.
Okay, and that's pretty much where we wrapped it up from last session. So for this one, we are going to begin with a survival check to see if you can continue tracking them.
Okay. Everyone? Survival check?
I would allow
Maybe
one of you
that's
to
it.
roll at advantage because otherwise it's a lot of rolls.
Yeah, I'm like, who do you want? You know?
I think
That's up to
Miri
you.
has the
Miri.
highest bonus.
Yeah, I think so too.
Fine, let the ranger roll. Just because you want to do well.
Well, we also don't want
21.
to. We also don't want to get lost and say end up inside the neogi, because that would be bad.
Well, the neogi are considered small creatures, so they're about kobold size. So you could end up inside one of them, but you'd be in tiny pieces.
Also,
Yeah.
not good.
Not good.
Well,
They chew
their
food.
own appendages also act as steak knives.
And this is also true.
This
And
is
I
not
appreciate-
improving my opinion of them.
I appreciate that Eric has joined the Discord chat as well. So we have rolling pandas, in addition to rolling die, and rolling burbs. So many rolling burbs. They are adorable.
They are adorable. I'm still trying to
Yes.
figure out what they all are.
However, we are not going to get numbers off of the burbs when they're rolling, and that panda doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon. That's going to
Right.
That is a floor die. Floor die do not count. We are already off the rails now. We got Cindy posting otters because baby otters are adorable. Even
And it's
adult
rolling.
Otters are adorable.
It's rolling.
It's rolling. No,
Oh, this could go on for a while.
yeah, this could go on for a while. Now we've got an adorable puppy that's rolling on the
Rolling
floor,
on his back.
but it's belly up. That's a 1. That's a nat 1. What?
What is that?
That's
Oh,
a
no.
raccoon. That is a raccoon. That is not the advised method for going down a hallway. And yet here we are.
Uh-oh. There we go.
You know what?
This is
You're
just
all-
derailed everything.
Any character that does not have inspiration has inspiration.
Aw.
Every character that does not have inspiration has inspiration at this point. Okay, because I'm not going to go through and say, well, this person posted it, this person, whatever. So with a 21, if I remember correctly, from the survival check, you are able to pick up the trail again. and it goes towards a crater that, as you are approaching, you see multiple forms lined up at the edge of the crater, including 3 that appear to be somewhat small and spider-like.
Can we nuke the site from orbit so we can be sure?
How far away are they?
Well,
Then the people who they've enthralled might die too. I mean,
Oh.
would die.
Collateral damage?
Not might.
You do happen to have a spaceship, but you left it several hours walk back.
Right. So, wait. So we found the neogi? Am I understanding that right?
They're currently positioned at the edge of what appears to be a smallish crater.
Okay.
How
How
far
far
away?
away are they?
You have just noticed them. They are maybe about a half a mile off. But with a roll of 21 in survival, I'm going to say that Neri was able to realize that there were some forms at the crater ridge and point them out before walking up to within 30 feet and going, oh, wait, there's neogi here.
Yeah, that's not good. Because if they're...
I want to try to sneak. Is there anything to sneak behind, around? Or
There's
is it
various... this crater that was formed did throw out some rock, and there are some... They're not boulders that, say, a dragonborn would be able to hide behind very readily, but a kobold, provided they don't have large platinum wings, would be able to hide behind the various rocks that are here. So yes, you could sneak up.
Worth
All
a
right.
shot, I guess. Just be ready for combat.
Mm-hmm.
It would be a stealth check for anyone who wishes to sneak.
I'm not so good at that.
Well, we should try to get as close as we can before we start fighting, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of want to throw this hammer at him and see what it does.
It's totally fine. I'm sure that their mind control abilities have a very short range.
Yeah. Can I just... I know y'all want to sneak, but I really want to throw this hammer at them and...
I'd advise against that, but I
Half-plate is
literally couldn't stop you.
I mean, it would stop them.
What exactly will that hammer do when you throw it?
Oh, it's going to make a really big boom, like 300 feet, I think, and
So wait.
probably destroy everything in that space. But I can throw it for like 3...
Yeah, are we sure? Are we sure there's only neogi in that space?
I
Now,
don't know.
to clarify, it makes a sound that goes for 300 feet. The damage radius is much smaller than that.
60, I think.
It's still a pretty wide radius.
I think it's 20 to 60.
They might have enthralled people. Don't hurt the enthralled people. We can't resurrect more people.
We don't know that there's enthralled people. I mean...
There's
Well, there's
probably
multiple
enthralled
forms.
people.
There are multiple forms along this ridge. 3 of them are spider-like. The rest are not.
Okay, fine.
It's the hammer does no damage as a thrown weapon. It's just stunning.
Are we sure? Let me read that again.
I'm looking at
yeah,
the,
you're right. Yeah, it stuns. I could still do it.
It would be
Nothing
the
else
first
hurt
time
them.
it was thrown.
It would be.
If it does no damage and just stuns, well, then they would be physically unharmed.
There's also a thunder wave, though, that comes from it, I think. If I'm reading that right.
But is that something you cast or channel through it? Or is
let me
it just a...
look at this
it's not-
again.
Or is both?
it's just a thunderclap audible out to 300 feet. So it's just really loud. Everybody
So it goes
knows you're
boom.
I mean, we
but
can
it
all
could
make
stun
boom.
them. You know, it could stun them. If they're stunned, they probably can't mind control any. Maybe.
Okay, so the way player is reading this now,
Right.
while attuned, you may expend a charge and make a ranged weapon attack. So long range on that would be 60 feet. And so that's still relatively close. Normal range will be 20 feet. And if you try to throw it at more, you're disadvantaged. If the attack hits, there's the trigger.
right.
The hammer unleashes a thunderclap audible out to 300 feet. The target that you hit, obviously, and every creature within 30 feet must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or be stunned until the end of your next turn. So it will only last one turn and
Then
only
you gotta go
goes...
pick it up.
Right, you still got to go pick it up.
Uh-huh.
And you have, in order for that to take effect, you have to hit. If you're not within 20 feet, you're going to be throwing it at disadvantage, which means it's more likely going to miss.
It's got a long range of 60 feet, though. Am I misunderstanding that?
At
Well, no.
long range, that's when you're rolling a disadvantage.
Right.
Beyond that,
When you're
Oh,
beyond,
okay.
it's
beyond
Yeah.
normal range of 20 and up to the long range of 60, you have disadvantage on the attack roll. Past 60, it will just fail.
Okay.
And in old school Spelljammer rules, they made additional rulings for super long range because, fun fact, in space, there's no inertia to slow down, say, a javelin or ballista bolt or arrow or sling.
Right.
Or a hammer of thunderbolt.
Right.
Yes. Isaac Newton is the worst person alive. He has killed so many people. So many people have had bad days because of him.
So it could work, but you're going to have to be a lot closer. And if we want to get closer, that means stealth.
I'm not good at stealth, but I can distract him so you all can be good at stealth.
If I had disadvantage and I don't know why I'm doing my out of character talk in the Chroma voice. If I have disadvantage and I spend inspiration, what do I do?
Because of the way I've house ruled inspiration, you roll once. Well, sorry, if you have disadvantage, you roll twice and take the lowest number. But if you don't like the lowest number, spend your inspiration and roll it again.
I'm going to spend my inspiration.
I should probably make a stealth check for JR.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, yeah.
Well, JR's a paladin. They're stealthy.
That's much better. 18. Yeah, I'm proficient in stealth. It's a thing.
Okay.
JR
I'm
got
guessing
a
I need
4.
to roll for stealth. Go ahead, sorry. JR got what?
A 4.
Oh.
Clank, 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 clank. You think it's the armor. No, it's actually JR.
It's just him. All right, I'm going to do a stealth roll and see what I get. And it's a 15. Wow.
Okay. So the character who's like, I'm not really good at being stealthy is sufficiently
I
stealthy.
haven't. The history of it is I'm not at all. So this is a
You're learning.
surprise.
You're learning.
Yeah.
You figured out the trick is to not sing We're So Quiet. It took a little while for you to realize this. It had become a traditional chant among barbarians attempting to be sneaky.
Mm-hmm.
JR, the character who literally cannot speak, is making enough noise for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I got an 8. I'm not that far behind him.
True. Actually, I'm going to roll a perception check for JR. Well, I got a 6 on perception for JR. Not only does JR not act stealthy at all, JR thinks that they are acting stealthy.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
He's making his own theme song.
They're knocking over like every rock that's on top of another rock that can be knocked over. They're knocking over.
Okay.
They're hiding on the wrong side of the boulder.
He's trying. Or they're trying. They're trying. They're really trying.
Yeah, they will get a gold star that says you tried on it in Comic Sans. The D at the end of tried is not actually on the star. It goes off the edge. But you know, whatever. There's also a poorly cut star that says there was an attempt. Still better than some people. I happen to know a certain monk that when I ask for certain saves, I'm told no. Not that any of you know who that monk is. None of your characters have met that monk. But if you do, be warned. They tend to stand on the ceiling to assert dominance. Which may or may not have happened this past Saturday, by the way, when you weren't able to attend, Cindy. Just so you know. All right, moving forward, because you have been. As you get closer, you realize that the neogi aren't moving, and neither are any of the forms that are up along the crater ridge.
That's probably not right.
Yeah, well, also the spears that at first you thought they were armed with spears. Armed is a particularly tricky word. There are spears involved. They're not
beat us to it.
wielding them.
Somebody's
Wait, the
been practicing
neogi
now.
have been impaled?
Oh, yes.
Ordinarily, this would be a good thing. However, we didn't do it, so therefore it is suspect.
Maybe lizard folk did it.
They might have. They don't like them.
Yeah, lizard
don't.
folk hate neogi, and most of them were carrying spears when we met them.
Well, if they've killed the neogi, we can bring the bodies back to the group that's currently the
Warforged?
Warforged that's currently flipping rocks out there, and say, hey, guess what? You killed the neogi. Ta-da!
What do we
Yeah, I'm
call
saying
three
let's
dead yogi? A start.
Now, the other forms, and these are not evenly spaced. They're somewhat sporadically spaced around the ridge of the small crater appeared to be entirely made up, well, almost entirely made up of Dragonborn.
Huh.
And they're all pierced as well?
They are all being held up by spears. Yes. What's the
Okay.
highest passive perception? I want to say it's 16 in its chromas.
No.
Wait.
I have a 16. Zenosha has a 16.
Zenosha has a 16. Okay. Zenosha
My
has a 16.
passive perception is 9.
Okay.
I have a
So,
negative
Mirror
wisdom modifier.
Mine is 10, but I'm wearing the robe of eyes and can see
You can
all
see a
sorts
lot.
of hidden
Yeah.
objects.
so if it's an active perception check, you're going to have advantage, but this is
Right.
passive.
Passive is
Thing.
just nope. Unless it's invisible or ethereal, then I'm the only one who could see it.
So,
I think mine is 11, but there's a +3 to perception. if
well,
that
I'm,
makes
I'm
sense.
going with the passive checks, and your passive perception is 13.
Oh,
So,
okay.
So for passive things, for passive perception, passive investigation, and passive insight, those are things where the DM just says, well, your number's this high, so I'm going to give you this information without
Okay.
requiring you to roll. You just happen to notice this thing,
Okay.
which is very handy because if someone has a very high passive perception, I don't have to depend on one of you rolling well in order for me to give exposition. I can just give it, as opposed to going, well, we would have gotten ourselves out of this crater about 3 episodes ago if one of you had happened to notice the gem that was sitting right there with a giant neon sign on it that said, push me to win the level. But that was 5 nat 1s in a row.
Oh,
I've never
wow.
seen 5 nat 1s in Actually, I have, but let's not talk about that. Moving forward,
Oh no.
Zenosha, with your passive perception of 16. Now, you don't want to be that kobold. Okay, maybe you do want to be that kobold. I'm not going to RP you. But the spears that you have seen the previous lizard folk wielding did not appear to be made out of scrap metal. They were, for the most part, made of wood and bone. The pointy parts were the bone parts. These spears do appear to be made out of scrap metal. In some cases, the spear shafts themselves are made out of metal bars, and the pointy parts are sharpened scraps that have been tied to them. But they're all metal. This
All
doesn't
right,
look
well-
like the spears that the lizard folk were using.
All right, guys, these don't look like lizard folk spears, so maybe the neogi ran into a group of dragonborn and kept mind controlling them, and they kept killing each other till they finally killed the neogi. Either way, I say we grab the neogi bodies and get out of here so the Warforged can have their home in that series of buildings and ruins we found.
How were the spears different though? Like, what did they look like?
Lizard folk's spears are made of bone and wood. These are all metal, completely different
Ah.
materials.
They don't
Do
appear to look like they'd be easy to throw a very long distance.
Yeah, they're also really heavy, so
Well, that's not really a problem. Did the Warforged?
not for dragonborn, would be for lizard folk.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Yeah. Did the Warforged make those spears? I mean, it doesn't look like something they do, but
One of those Warforged is literally a printer, so I don't think they have
Maybe not.
industrialized weapons yet.
okay, right. Well, let's like you were saying, let's bring back make sure they're dead. I mean, they must be, but bring back the dead Neogi for the Warforged, solve their problem.
All right,
I'm
let's get to
curious
it.
about what's in the crater.
Oh
That's
my.
What's in the crater is the thing that made the crater.
Ooh.
Yeah. It looks like it hit at an angle. Most craters that you found on the moon are circular. Some of them are larger than others. Some of them have other craters inside of them. This one doesn't have a lot of craters on the inside of it, so in that regards, your best guess is it's a bit more fresh than the others. There is an object that is mostly buried under rock. It's like there was a landslide that came in on top of it after the initial impact. And it is fairly long, made of metal, and there is a very obvious hatch that you can see that is circular with a wheel in the middle of it.
That's not what I was expecting.
I want to look at it.
As do I.
Well, just be careful because whoever put all these guys on spears here might still be in there.
Let's not end up at the business end of any more spears.
You do happen to see that the Neogi tracks do lead towards that hatch. They don't lead away from the hatch.
Ooh.
Are there tracks that lead toward the neogi, from the hatch toward the neogi corpses?
Yes, they appear to be large booted footprints. The lizard folk that you have met so far do not tend to wear boots.
So these guys were also placed here. I figured they just died there, but
Maybe they were set up to serve as a warning to others.
that's typically what it means when you place corpses on spears, yes.
So if we start taking some of the bodies, they're probably going to be mad.
Or they might not care that much. It's usually a warning to keep out. In this case, probably keep out of that crater.
Well, if anyone can make friends with them, it's Chroma.
Yeah, probably true.
I'll
But-
do my best.
Do we have to even try?
Yes?
We should know who's in the area.
It's a good idea to say hello to the neighbors.
They're probably pretty hostile, though. I mean, look what they did to all them.
By the way, as you're having this conversation, JR is walking towards the hatch.
JR, no.
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 They turn, look at you, and point at the hatch.
No.
Is the hatch opening?
No.
Okay.
I'd rather it be us investigate this than another group of kobolds who happens across it and isn't quite as cautious.
Yeah, you're right.
Good point.
On one hand, you're talking about this group being cautious. But
We have
on the
a
other
lot
hand,
more hit points.
We do.
But on the other hand, the other groups of kobolds are still less cautious than you. So the
Yeah.
point is valid. The point is very much valid. It's just at a different point in the sliding scale than one would assume.
I mean, we're actually having this conversation as opposed to another group of kobolds who would say, shiny!
Yes.
Yeah, your average kobold has the self-preservation of a 2-year-old that's learning how to walk.
Yeah.
Well, JR was not born yesterday, but they were born this calendar year, and they have already been stopped from going towards the hatch once.
Should we collectively approach the hatch?
Yeah, it's probably best.
We should collectively approach the hatch.
Yeah.
JR, if they start swinging, keep near the back, please.
JR looks at you, and
I had to revive you twice during the last fight. I'm sorry, man, but
Okay, give me a second here. JR slowly nods, and JR rolls a 6 on their deception check.
Oh.
I have not rolled... I don't think I've rolled above a 6 for JR this evening.
Wow.
Okay, but you all approach the hatch together.
Yep.
yeah.
Yes.
As you approach, you notice that while the large metal structure seems to be mostly made of steel, painted black, in fact, but there's a lot of spots where the black has been scratched off. Funny that crashing into the moon will wreck your paint job. No one's coming with touch-up paint to take care of that. There does seem to be some body work that needs to be done. That dent will buff right out. This one, all you need is like a toilet plunger to just pop that right out. That one, that looks like a specialized piece. We're going to have to order it from the factory. That's going to take at least 3 weeks to get it delivered. Then there's parts and labor costs. You're looking at a good month and a half to get that fixed. We can give you a loaner for that time, but it's going to be a while. There's also a bronze plaque that is near the hatch.
Read it.
Okay. What languages can you read?
Common, Deep Speech, Draconic, and Gnomish.
It is written in Gnomish.
Huh.
In Gnomish, it says, "This fabulous contraption is the one and only MacGuffin, a submersible sailing vessel created by the famed shipwright Cicero Lodestone." Yes, you have found the MacGuffin. You are absolutely right, Matt.
So let's see about getting it open.
Well, it's got a big wheel on the front. Shouldn't you just turn the wheel?
That definitely sounds like what did it say it was?
It's a vessel called the MacGuffin. And it's a submersible sailing vessel, apparently.
How did it end up here?
Well, I'm guessing
Um,
someone crashed it into the moon.
Well, yeah.
I'm guessing sucked up from the ring world.
Oh, I don't know. It's got that wheel on it, though. That looks like something Fiddle Punch would have put.
Well, it's Gnomish.
Oh, wow.
So maybe knock first and then ring the bell if we are having Chroma try diplomacy.
Yeah, let's go for
Someone's knocking on the door?
Someone's ringing a bell.
that.
Do me a favor. Open the door and don't impale them. Please.
No guarantees.
No promises.
Well, considering the one doing the impaling is the character that I'll be controlling, your statement still bears weight.
We're small, so maybe they'll aim high.
That is a theory that you can
What I'm
hold
going to
here.
subscribe to.
You may acquire additional data points that require you to go back and revise your assumptions.
Knock,
We'll find out.
knock, knock, knock. Hello?
I'm going to roll something. Chroma,
Mhm.
give me a straight-up charisma roll.
All right, I will do that. That's an 8.
Okay. The wheel that is attached to the front of this circular steel door spins quite fast. It appears to have been maintained. Much of the ship appears to have not been maintained, but this part seems to be working as intended. And then the door flies open very quickly. Chroma, I'm assuming you were in front of the door?
Uh-huh.
Give me a dexterity save.
Oh no.
10.
Okay.
I'm rolling low.
Yep. Well, you are knocked back.
Whoop.
You are prone.
Hello?
And I need to roll another number. You are going to take... You are going to take 5 points of bludgeoning damage from the door.
Ow, sturdy door.
Well, it's a door that's larger than you, and it's made of steel. So,
Yeah.
It is
So
the
it
mighty
does that.
door of bludgeoning.
pretty much. If you have Zax wield this door, Zax might think that a hammer of thunderbolts is not always necessary in combat.
Wow.
Zax would be
Ow.
like, well,
It'd be the great shield of bludgeoning. At
Yes.
this point.
Zax would be like, well, I don't tend to use shields. It's not really a barbarian thing. But at the same time, I mean, most barbarians don't use a shield like this.
Yep. It would be unique.
Some people would throw a hammer of thunderbolts. You throw a door like a discus.
This has possibilities.
You go from being Thor to Captain America.
Yeah.
It doesn't come back, but that's okay. Neither is anyone you hit with it.
Right. I could just go get it, No problem.
And meanwhile, you see Gotch just looking on with a proud grin on his face going, that's how you know they're dead, because you've taken off all of their heads from this.
If you aim right, I mean,
Yeah. Not a clean slice. There's just there's a fine red mist in
It
the air.
doesn't have to be a clean slice. You still know they're
Okay.
dead.
So
All right.
now that we're done talking about how fearsome this door is, that's an out of context quote. I love this game so freaking much. Everyone who is able to see through the door sees that there is a very large sword that is also on fire,
Whoa.
pointing out at you.
Can we see who's holding it or just the sword at this point?
They are in shadow, but you are kobolds.
Right.
But it's also daytime on the moon.
Sure.
So
Hmm.
you're having a bit of a hard time, especially those of you who aren't wearing hats. Which,
Yep.
if we look at
No
character
hat.
art, it's only Neri.
I have a hat. I have a hat.
You
I
do.
know.
Yes, you do.
Smoked
Not only-
glasses.
Not only does Snacks have a hat, Snacks also has a robe of eyes, which negates the disadvantage you would have for the perception check based on sight that you would normally get from being in bright sunlight.
Yep.
So that evens out. So rather than make a roll, I'm going to say that those of you who are either wearing hats or have a robe of eyes or a combination of the two, or have perhaps made really cool sunglasses because you're artificers and have to show off. Not judging. Actually, I am judging, and I judge in favor. But moving forward,
Oh,
well, I teach technology lessons. I do think that kind of stuff is cool. Can see that it is what appears to be an elderly dragonborn holding the sword. More of you.
Whoa, 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 whoa. We come in peace. We're just saying hi.
Peace! Like the
we're
last
here for
one's
diplomacy.
diplomacy.
The last ones might have been possessed by neogi. That's a thing.
That's what they do. Those spider things, they mess with your head.
They tried. I got them.
So you
I got them, right?
You did good.
Yes, you
I
got
haven't checked that closely, but they ain't moving, so I think you got them.
I believe they have been sufficiently pierced to render themselves non-existent. Or not.
They are neogi kebabs.
Ugh. That doesn't sound good at all.
They are not good eating.
Yeah.
Chroma, give me a performance check.
Performance?
Yes, because of the line you just used.
I am not proficient in that.
Oh, I am very much aware.
15.
But you still got a 15. So this elderly dragonborn just stares at you. You haven't said you're getting up yet, so he stares at this kobold that is still prone on the ground and covered in gadgets that has said neogi kebabs.
Grins at him.
And then he chuckles a little bit.
Oh, good.
And then he goes into a full-on guffaw. The flaming sword goes down a little bit so that the point is touching the inner wall of the hatch. He never stuck it out all the way. And he moves one hand to wipe a tear from an eye. I don't think I've laughed in 10 years. Kebabs. I haven't had a kebab in like 15.
How long have you been up here?
I was here. I was looking. There was sabotage. Something. Memories. I served. I was hunting. Me. They're gone now. Something small. Something sabotage. We found this. Who are you?
We're kobolds. We're from the Circle of Tales. You wouldn't know what that is. It was founded about 5 years ago.
I know kobold. Knew. Maybe. There's so many holes. So many holes. We had so many holes in our minds. Knew a kobold with... You don't have wings.
No.
But some do.
I know some who do.
One, I remember, there was debate. Wings of platinum. That's not right.
Oh, okay. We know.
You were looking for Mom.
That's her mom.
No, this was years ago. Not
Yeah.
before I came here.
Right.
De Perfecta.
Right.
There was a council, a kobold with platinum wings. There was skeletal dragon. I remember a dragon of bones. We fought.
Zenosha is doing her best not to show emotion right now, but she's getting kind of scared of where his conclusions might lead.
I don't know. Who are you?
I'm Chroma.
Chroma. From the Circle of Tales.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you...
Daughter of Zelix?
Zeely.
Zeely.
No, that's... Yeah. I know a Zelix, but he's a mind flayer.
And not her mom.
Mind
and
flayers
not my
are
mom.
not. Mind flayers don't make good mom. Don't taste good.
Good to know.
What happened?
When?
Things were monotonous for years. We didn't know much. So many holes in our minds. We stayed put, did not know who to trust. Recent, by standards of time, the stars moved. There was...
a different mind flayer stole the moon.
There was a wind, very flammable. Learned that the hard way.
Yes, that'd be the float. It's weird space stuff.
The flow.
It's what's outside the crystal spheres.
It's long and complicated, but the short version is each world with its sun is held inside a crystal sphere. You go outside that, you go into this complicated, flammable flow stuff.
It's kind of like a river, but flammable, and it gets you from one to the other.
There was a lock.
Was the lock big and spherical? In half an orb?
It wasn't ours. We kept.
Wow.
It broke.
Uh-huh.
The ones who broke it came with this, and he slams his hand against the side of the doorway that he's in. We didn't find them, but they came in this. We found this, and then the holes. So many holes. Most of my life is holes.
I wonder if that can be fixed.
What, you don't want him to get his memories back? I'm sure he'd be very useful for you.
Zenosha grew up with Marwise. She picked up on all of that.
Oh, I'm sure Zenosha did, yes.
Max has no idea.
if we're metagaming and trying to pick the best possible choices here, Zenosha's on the right track. I am not going to say that is the first choice that every one of the characters is going to make in this situation.
Yeah.
Which is exactly why Zenosha just made a series of nervous noises.
What is your name, good
You
sir?
were fighting.
Gurhim.
I'm sorry.
Gurhim Delmarev.
Character would like to make a history check to see if that name's important.
The character may certainly make a history check. I'm going to say that your time spent with your mentor and his aspirations of knowing all the things will cancel out the disadvantage you would normally have from knowing this obscure character.
Okay. 21.
Oh.
Can
Okay.
can
Sorry?
I roll history to remember to see if I was paying attention to a particular thing?
It depends on the thing.
The incident with the Dragonborn that pulled a betrayal and started attacking the people there to see the council. That I want to know if I've heard of that story.
I imagine that Zeely has filled your head with
Yeah.
many tales. Pun intended, because
They're kind of jumbled up in there sometimes.
And there was the time that Phoenix attacked the council. No, not Phoenix. He did attack us, but it was much later. Oh, okay. But where does the ancient red dragon come in? What ancient red dragon? I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, I have no idea what you're talking about. No one's mentioned an ancient red dragon ever. Yes, you may make a history check.
Basically, what Snax is
16.
looking for, what Snax is looking for is that he seems to talk about some sort of battle, and now that we know his name, if he might remember more of that particular battle that he was involved in.
The battle you've heard of.
Right. But he's not giving us enough info on it, and I'm like, okay, there's pieces missing, and Snax is trying to figure out, wait, is this what I think it is?
So, about 5 years ago, a particular band of kobolds made some, shall we say, poor life choices. They kind of accidentally investigated a sunken temple that contained the mummified remains of 20 followers of Tiamat, who were then revived when they destroyed an altar, oopsie,
Yeah.
and started enacting a plan to take over the world, as one does.
I got a
Season 1?
16.
Okay. Your bit of insight will come soon. So one of the things that occurred after this band of adventurers became a thorn in the side of these 20 undead followers of Tiamat, one of the things that occurred was they sent a bunch of dragons, and in one case a Dracolich, after everything that the kobolds loved and held dear. Now, the biggest thing that happened was the farmhouse that your character, Snax, would be familiar with, that's in Coomridge, that got hit by an ancient red dragon, and that was bad, as you have heard Ari say on more than one occasion. That was actually really bad. That was just
Really
that
bad.
was beyond bad.
That went beyond bad, yeah.
Yes, there were survivors because 2 counts as a plural.
Yes.
But it was not good. There was another dragon that was sent after the town of Coomridge Keep that didn't end well for that dragon, because when you have a level 20 wizard with his high-level sorcerer daughter, bad things happen to the dragon.
Yeah. A dragon like that would have roused Ari's attention as well.
Yes, and Ari is also not someone to sneeze at when it comes to magical spells. So, yeah,
Yep.
There was, I will lay waste to all that you love. Why are half my hit points gone? You didn't let me finish the sentence, and then the rest of it's gone. There's a small gust of
There's an old
wind as the
saying-
ashes remain.
There's an old saying about messing with dragons, for thou art crunchy and taste good with ketchup. There's another one about messing with 3 high-level wizards.
Well,
Or
2
2
high-level
high-level
wizards and a
sorcerers.
high-level
Lizards are
sorcerer.
less likely to eat you.
True. But
And
even
it's
a dragon must give pause.
There weren't even paws left. No. The dragon turned into ash on the wind.
There you go.
Yes, it was not a red dragon, so that was easy to do. But the town outside of De Perfecta, where almost all of the Dragonborn reside, and where up until relatively recently in the history of Circulus, the only temple not Tiamat, to Bahamut existed. That was attacked by a Dracolich. This also did not end well for the Dracolich, because when you attack a town that has the vast majority of Dragonborn paladins in residence.
Yeah, also a bad choice. Tactically, a better solution could have been found.
Including Fenix Sr.
Oh, geez.
Yes. It was primarily his residence that was targeted. It had already been destroyed by a white dragon and partially rebuilt by a clan of kobolds. Rebuilt is a functional word that we will use an alternate definition of. But that's when Kobold OSHA was invented. And for all of this, listen to Season 2 of Pack Tactics, available now in podcatchers of choice, because all those episodes are currently live. So the main details for that have not been totally divulged. The main thing that was said after the fact that the DM has revealed were the Dracolich was dealt with. That is how the Dragonborn referred to the situation.
Okay.
They left the rest of it up to imagination. But, there's only so many smites that a Dracolich can survive. So there isn't much imagination needed.
Nope. So he's probably referring to the Dracolich attack.
Yes.
Given where he's from and what he is. What color is he, by the way?
Red.
Red, okay.
So that's probably why he was able to survive his experience with starting a fire in the flow.
Yep.
Oh, I only took half damage from that massive fireball I created because I lit a match.
Yep. Good enough for me. Good enough for Snacks. Now he's got the pieces that fit.
Okay. Now, for Chroma, I have totally forgotten the detail that you were trying to figure out.
I, the player, suspect that this person is one of the people who attacked the Seasons 1 and 2 group in De Perfecta.
Ah, well, that is...
I'm trying to figure out if Chroma remembers that that was a thing.
Chroma can definitely remember that was a thing. With a 16, I'm going to say Chroma also remembers that those individuals were also, to put it bluntly, dealt with. A couple of them were dealt with because a particular kobold monk kept dashing around a corner in a hallway to systematically keep stunning both of them over and over again so they couldn't do a bloody thing.
Yep.
They regretted their many life choices, and then they didn't have a life to have a choice about anymore. There was one that was kept alive for questioning, but they did not stay around very much either. And what was gathered was that they didn't really register as Dragonborn anymore. Technically, they were fiends at that point.
Ah.
So if this particular Dragonborn is in fact one of them, he would be a fiend and be subject to whatever that is. Or he might be an ally, or he might not be. You might just be profiling him because he was there and he's got red scales.
And he was saying things that implied that he might have been a follower of Tiamat.
Well, he's Dragonborn on the moon. At one point, all the Dragonborn on the moon were, in fact, followers of Tiamat. That's a safe assumption. I wouldn't require a roll for that one.
Right.
So we've been playing for about an hour. What do you say we take 5?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Right, I'm going to press some buttons and we'll be right back. I have pressed the buttons.
Yay.
All of them. Why is all my history gone?
Oh no.
I pressed the history eraser button. I don't know why they put it right
no,
there
I
in
think
Firefox.
we did that. We pressed the history eraser button.
Well, not
Specifically,
you.
Daldane pressed
Yes, Daldane
the
pressed the history eraser
button.
button. Erased all history of Tiamat.
And we love her.
I love her as well. I love everything about these games that we play together. I love Dungeons and Dragons, and I absolutely adore when players in these campaigns make decisions that change the world. So I get to keep bringing them up in future games in totally different campaigns. By the way, the moon is still gone because the other campaigns have not caught up to yours yet.
Mm-hmm.
In order for that to not be the case, I would have had to have you RP through 2 months of travel.
Oh.
No. At this point in the other campaigns, through the power of wibbly wobbly timey wimey, I'm going to say that canonically, the party is over halfway through your adventure, so the moon is on its way back. But that was then. This is also then, but a different then, and also now.
This is the then that is now.
When will then become now?
Always.
Soon.
Never. The future will never be the present because it is always the future.
Then is always becoming now.
I thought I had it, but now it's the past. Yes, that is exactly the reference I was making. Thank you, Ellie.
Oh, I've never seen Spaceballs.
Archbeth, you need a movie night.
No,
Seriously.
I don't want to see it.
It's one of Mel Brooks's better films.
It is. Mm-hmm.
It is a classic, with
It's
a
the
lot
kind
of references.
parody that.
Okay, well, to each their
Yeah.
own. To each their own. With that said, you have met Gurhim Delmarev, and thanks to an odd joke about spider kebabs, neogi kebabs, have managed to avoid combat with a level 20 paladin. Good for you.
Wow.
That still counts as XP, right?
No. Because we're doing milestone leveling, so no.
Let's not fight more PCs of wildly higher levels than us. I mean, the script didn't do that.
But you're referring to the Saturday game, which was a joy to play. I truly appreciate how that arc ended. Not exactly how I expected it to go, but it was a good resolution nonetheless. So, with that said, Gurhim looks at all of you and shakes his head a little bit and says, probably want to come in.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you, sir.
He turns and sort of half crawls back. This doorway is large for a kobold. It's not quite large for an armored dragonborn, but he fits. The inside is a bit more spacious. Not very spacious, but a bit more spacious. Also sideways. There is that. It is sideways. Apparently the way this ship was designed, that hatch was on the top of it, and when it crashed, it sort of landed sideways.
Oh.
So, like, the lockers are on the ceiling and the floor. There's furniture that's bolted to the wall. Some of it's still bolted to the wall. Some of it's been ripped off and placed on what is now the floor so that it can actually be used. The bunks were hammocks, so it didn't really matter which way the sub was facing. They were usable. I could have been really mean and said that they were at a 90-degree angle, so they were totally unusable. But no, I'm not. I didn't do that to him. That'd be mean to an NPC. I would never be mean to an NPC. I would never give them any kind of tragedy. That's for the player characters to do. Daldane. Gurhim might not remember, but the DM never forgets. Except for all the times the DM forgets. But let's not talk about now. What we're talking about again? Oh yeah, Gurhim. So he gives you the grand tour, which he's able to do most of it standing in the spot right by the door, because while this vessel is quite large for what it is, it's still smaller than what you have available space-wise in the Red Star. Like, so, over here are the tanks, and I guess that's where they flew it, and over there's the beds. You put stuff in the tanks here, and you take stuff out of the tanks here.
Good to know.
I look at where he pointed when he said that's where they flew it. Do I see a helm?
Well, there is a chair that's bolted to the wall. That was probably the floor when this thing was, facing upright.
Okay.
And it's a largish chair that's made of metal. Might be a helm.
I don't have any spells left to give it, even if it is a helm.
GR goes over and attempts to sit in the chair.
That's about right.
I am going to see if I can roll higher than a 6 for JR. But guess what? This is a dexterity check, and JR has a dexterity modifier of +0.
Oh no.
I'll
Oh
help him.
no.
Well, that's an 18. But if you're helping, I'll roll again. That's a 13. So JR does manage to sit in the chair.
right.
It's hard to tell for sure because, skull for a face. But you get the sense that they are quite proud of themselves for being able to sit sideways in the chair.
Aw,
They are not quite preening.
we're all proud of them too.
They're not quite
Right.
preening, but they're close to it. Well, Chroma definitely is. I'm not going to RP the rest of you. The whole
Chroma chooses to believe that the others are
The
also
whole-
proud.
sub shakes.
Oh, helm! A working helm.
Is
Well,
this ship flight
either that
friendly?
or explosives.
Give me an insight check.
Everybody? Or
Anyone who wants to decide if it was explosives or not.
okay, I'm gonna roll for that. I have a 13 on an insight check.
Okay.
16 for me.
Okay. So, Neri, that's high enough that I'm going to say that if it was explosives, you usually hear a big bada boom to go with the shaking. There was no big bada boom. It was more of a rumble of rocks moving, but not moving a whole lot. There were a few pings on the hall, and other than the shake, there was a shake, rattle, no roll. The ship has not moved.
JR, do you have a connection with the ship?
I would very much like it if you did not do that again.
Well, we can try to put your house right side up.
Maybe not while everyone's in it.
JR does look to Neri when Neri asks that question and gives her a thumbs up.
All right. Anybody feel like moving some rocks?
I can do that.
It's going to be another 3-week escapade of tedium.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I'll look over at the Dragonborn and say, we can help you move some rocks off this thing and set it right side up. If you have spell slots, you can pilot it yourself, too.
Did you see how deeply this was buried?
I have spells that let me move dirt.
Gerheim looks at you for a beat and then shrugs.
It's called Mold Earth.
He
Oh.
still shrugs. He goes over, he picks up what appears to be a slightly chipped cup, and he holds it up to a spigot for one of the things he referred to as the tanks. He pulls a spigot and some type of green sludge pours out of it, and then he drinks it. Sorry,
Okay.
rude of me. Do you want some
What
too?
is it?
No, thank you.
It's food? The question mark is implied.
Yeah. No, I'm good. Thank you though. I'm gonna go move dirt and rocks.
Well, we can take a look to see how long that'll take.
I'll go out with...
Okay.
Okay. So all of you head out, and you see that, in fact, it's not that there's a bunch of rocks piled on top of this sub. Imagine, if you will, a nail and a 2x4.
Ah.
Now imagine the nail was entering the Earth's atmosphere, somehow managed to not burn up on re-entry, and then hit said 2x4.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, yeah, this would take too long to move.
You could spend some time digging it out with Mold Earth. The DM has already ruled that Mold Earth will work against rock in addition to loose soil. So we're going above and beyond what the D&D rulebook says you can do with it. Also, the DM has decided to graciously allow Mold Earth to work on things that are not the Earth, like, say, the moon,
Right.
which I think is something that would be implied anyway by the spell, but never mind about that. Like, somewhere some experts going, actually, it's regolith, which is totally different from soil, and therefore it should not be. Quiet, you.
Yeah, but I'll go ahead and tell the paladin guy that, yeah, I was thinking this might only be a few hours, but even with magic, this sort of thing would take weeks, and we'd be in danger of knocking your ship loose and making it take a few more dents.
I'm just glad it was airtight for as long as it could be.
Oh.
Well, now that we've got an atmosphere coming back to the moon.
Yeah, I noticed that I didn't have to use my shirt anymore.
Shirt?
Yeah, to breathe.
You use a shirt to breathe?
You did.
It works for Link, why not?
I mean, they're wearing one. And he points over at JR.
JR?
JR waves.
Well, we just
Are
thought
you
that was
wearing a
on.
magic
We didn't
item?
realize it had special properties.
JR waves.
Okay.
Well, I did not infuse my goggles here with detect magic today, or identify, so...
I have such capabilities.
You don't need to do that. It is, like, the shirt is a magical item. It lets you have a personal atmosphere for a limited time. I don't know why. What exactly are you? JR waves. That doesn't help.
JR doesn't talk
They
yet.
can't talk. They're a warforged. They're like iron golems, but they're conscious and sentient.
Oh, okay. Do they need to breathe?
I don't think so.
Then why do you have the golem wearing...
We didn't know it was a magic item.
He needed some more protection in battle, and it looked like it might help.
They needed clothes.
Yeah.
JR waves.
Well, and specifically they needed
JR
armor
picked that
because they're a paladin now, and...
Right, and JR picked that one out themselves.
A paladin.
Uh-huh.
You have a golem that's a paladin.
Not a golem. He's
Like I said, they're sentient. They're just like people. Their body's like an iron golem, but their mind's just like a person's.
So many.
And they can be healed like normal with healing spells, which would imply that they've got the,
A soul.
That wasn't quite what I meant to say, but it will do.
JR just kind of stands there at this point. Looks back and forth.
The, spark that makes divine spells be a thing, I guess.
JR gives a thumbs up. You are very
We
Yes,
get
we
that
can
a
go.
lot.
all the time. Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying this, no offense, having just killed 3 spider things that tried to take over my brain.
Well, you did a good job of killing them.
We're probably stranger than the spider things, but we're much nicer.
Although, to be fair, we did come out here because we were trying to kill the spider things, too.
Because otherwise, the Warforged won't be allowed to stay because the Council of Tales is being unreasonable.
Yeah,
I
to
think-
translate Chroma, we came out here to kill the neogi, the spider things, and well, you've done a good job of that. So unless you kind of want them hanging around, we'd like to take them back to the Warforged, who can turn them in and say, "Look, we killed these things," and we're hoping the Council of Tales will go, "Oh, good, you killed those things, you can stay."
Because the Warforged are our friends, and they've been really helpful, but Counselor Stonetail does not think that they're friends or helpful. I don't know if he thinks anyone at all is a friend, because he's a jerk.
This sounds like a lot more politics than I care to.
Yeah, same, but we're stuck with them.
Did I?
Well, short version is if we can take the neogi corpses, you can probably be left alone.
If you want to be.
Was I a politician? I think I...
You seem too honest for that.
You are very funny. By the way, I just rolled a nat 20 on my deck save to prevent my cat from running across my keyboard. I now have a cat on my lap. I
Correct.
am, in fact, the evil overlord with a cat
With the cat.
that he can pet while sitting in a chair and addressing the party. So, you have come to the moon. What were you expecting? Were you expecting moonbeams? I have created
Yes!
a... Okay, well, that does sort of take a bit of the wind out of my sails. And the cat is gone. I'm going to leave that in. Mark my words. That's staying in the recording. Because that was hilarious. And by the way, Chroma's got her inspiration back.
Yay!
Because that yes was so well timed. Okay, moving forward. Gurhim looks over at the 3 neogi kebabs and says, 2.
2.
As in, we can have 2 of them?
Yes. They're there.
I
Ah.
think that should be sufficient.
They're there as a warning. If I give you all 3, any more of those neogi things coming around won't know that this way means.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right, that should be enough for the Warforged then.
Yeah.
And you don't send anyone.
Okay.
No, of course not.
I will probably kill them.
That's why.
We shall mark the area off limits.
That would be why. Leave me alone with my thoughts.
If you're sure. But, if you want us to come back and visit sometime...
1 second while the DM is looking. The DM is not going to get this information by looking at Zax's character.
Probably not. That would be a surprise.
I picked over the next character sheet. That was Cog Buckets. That is actually less informational at this time. I wouldn't be able to contact.
I know some spells that could reach you.
That's the wrong direct.
No, but we could perhaps use it to check on you to make sure you are okay.
No offense. I really don't want voices in my head.
That is understandable given your encounter with the neogi.
That is why I killed.
As I understand it, the only good neogi are dead neogi, so yay. But you would recognize us in the future. Are we unwelcome to visit?
Persuasion check.
Can I help?
You may help.
I'm actually proficient.
And I'm not.
I have a +5. Why am I never the one making the checks?
Your charisma did play a role in how this is planning out.
True.
So 14.
Well, it's better than the 3.
Yeah.
Wait, I can add to that. I have a feature that lets me be more helpful when I help. I mean, not more helpful when I help specifically, but
So you're more helpful than helpful.
I have an artificer thingy. I'm not very coherent right now, and I don't know why. It's a thing.
Because it's 10:25 in the evening.
Huh? No, I that's probably not it. Sorry. Let me paste it in. Where is it? Where's the photo?
Are you referring to Flash of Genius?
Yes! I wasn't sure how to explain it, so I had to take a picture.
Okay.
But I can use my reaction to add my intelligence modifier.
That would push that to 18, I'm guessing?
Oh, that is well over our target number. So,
Okay.
Gurheem looks at you, snacks, and he looks over at Chroma, then he looks back at you. For some reason, he feels like Chroma has been an influence on this conversation. He doesn't quite know why.
We can set something up if you don't want visitors. We could leave letters or something.
You know what? Fine. It's fine. Go take your Neo. I don't care what. Leave the one that's mostly intact.
Okay.
That'll last.
We can do that.
One of them does appear to have been sliced neatly in half.
All right.
The wounds were quickly cauterized when it was sliced in half. You have a pretty good idea how that occurred.
Mm-hmm.
Fire does that.
Yeah.
Gurheem goes back into the sub and starts to close the door. JR waits.
All right. Let's go get to Neogi.
Okay.
Yeah.
JR goes up to one of them and starts to pull it off of the spear. When he pulls up on it, the spear comes out of the ground. JR looks at that.
Oh.
And then JR holds onto the spear and holds it over his shoulder, and he looks like a worst hobo.
That's a good way to carry it, though. I'm going to probably do the same thing.
JR waves, almost drops the Neogi in the process.
Careful. We need to get that back to the Warhordes. Don't, it's got to at least look like a Neogi when we get there still, so.
And my phone is dying.
JR is concerned that Chroma's phone is dying and offers to recharge it. He does have several USB ports, or they do. They're not equipped for wireless charging, unfortunately, but if you have USB-C or USB 3, they can help you out. Do not have a lightning charger, unfortunately, so you'd have to have an adapter for that.
No Thunderbolt?
No, not that would be an upgrade.
That's Sax.
Yeah.
Fair, very fair.
But yeah, it went from 31% to 13% in like the last couple minutes.
Are you using your phone to have this conversation?
I'm using my phone to have my character sheet.
Oh, okay. Well, we've been recording for almost 2 hours, so we are getting close to the wrap-up point. I'm going to say that you have an uneventful trip back by retracing your steps to the Red Star. You are able to load the Neogi in to the Red Star. They have acquired a bit of an odor. You did take a long rest. You took a trip back home, took a long rest, and then took a trip back out, and then walked for several hours. And these things died sometime in that time period. So they have started the wonderful process of returning to whatever Earth from which they came.
Ooh, I could do a gentle repose to prevent further decay on the corpse.
The Warforged can't do that, though, so it would make it look less convincing.
Right.
Okay.
Well, you're still helping out either way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
JR doesn't mind because JR can't smell.
Right. Doesn't bother JR at all.
I've established that Zenosha's recent mushroom farm, including some of her questionable fertilizer, she probably doesn't care either.
And after we put these where they need to go, I do need to go to a moonbeam.
Right. Right. We gotta do that too.
We need to tell the others about the man we found.
No?
No?
He said no.
Well, he said don't. Well, we want to make sure that this area doesn't get bothered.
We just need to tell them that there's extreme danger in the area.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I meant. That nobody else comes back here. Well, except maybe us.
Okay, area very dangerous.
We can put a smile. We can put a frowny face and everything.
Will absolutely cause the death of anyone who enters it.
Yep.
Here there be monsters that are not specifically kobolds, or warforged, or lizard folk, or neogi.
Lizard folk.
To which Sniv would look at that warning and go, that is an odd listing of exceptions.
This place is not a place of honor.
Would it not be easier to list what it is?
It's kind of indescribable.
Ah, well, I have a gift for the vernacular. Perhaps I shall go and investigate myself.
It also messes with your head.
Oh, I am quite skilled at avoiding such tricks. I am, after all, a diplomat.
Is Sniv the bureaucrat?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please, by all means, go investigate.
No,
Marvelous.
no.
I'll follow you there as backup.
No, that won't be necessary.
We warned
Okay.
Go in.
Is this canon? This isn't canon,
Yes, this
is it?
is canon.
Oh, I thought it wasn't.
It started off as a riff, but I'm making this canon because it amuses me.
Oh, no.
I mean, we warned you it's dangerous, but
We
yeah, if
warned
you
him.
want to check it out for yourself.
We
And
warned
hey,
him.
I said I'd go with, but you don't want me to go with? Okay.
Oh, you have already seen. When you think I'm there, I'm not always. I'll be fine. But your concern is noted and touching. Thank you. And this is a different
just
voice than I used
enjoying
last
the-
time. I'm liking this one more.
It's
I'm just
annoying.
enjoying the image of Zax pushing Sniv into the crater and whistling and walking away.
Zax goes to push Sniv into the crater, then has to make a dex save because you were pushing an illusion. Sniv wasn't there. You put all your force behind it. Now you are in the crater.
Whoops.
Chroma, it may be worth investing some time in goggles that can see through illusion, if you can pull those off.
I can do that.
But for now, we should get you to a moonbeam.
Eyes, doesn't he?
Hmm?
I said Snacks has the cloak of eyes, doesn't he?
It does not work against illusions.
Oh, okay.
Take
Actually,
it.
wait, I'm not sure I can do that or if I can just do, invisible things.
Well, either way.
It's the suggestion Zenosha's going to throw out. She doesn't know how your stuff works, so if you say you'll look into it and just later say you can't, she'll accept that.
Sniv doesn't want to encourage Neri to get the idea into her head that it's okay to shoot arrows through his head.
Oh, yeah.
I can tell you, Sniv would survive.
Yeah, I know, but it's a funny image.
It is. And wow, that's a really cool that's one of those arrow headband things that makes it look like an arrow went right through your skull. That's kind of that's not a headband. You okay there? You okay there, bud? You look like you might need some healing. I am perfectly fine. Just a slight headache. Just need some ibuprofen. Maybe a cure light wounds. Maybe cure heavy wounds. I've felt purple. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Exactly what part of the brain did that arrow go through?
All of it. Oh.
That is not canon.
No.
It'd be funny, but no. Okay, so how do you plan to go about delivering the neogi? Or are you planning on bringing them back and saying, "Hey, the Warforged did this," or are you going to give it to the Warforged?
My original thought was give it to the
let's give it to the
Warforged.
Warforged.
I
Okay.
think that's the best idea.
All right, so you
Let
go
them-
back.
Let them make the presentation.
So you go back and find them. They have not managed to look under every rock, but they've covered about 75% of the area.
Okay.
They eventually set up a grid formation to do it a bit more systemically because it turned out that some of them were turning over rocks that had already been turned over once.
Okay.
And that's not very productive. And then they see the red star show up and, oh, hello! You seem to have... What are those horrible things?
Well,
There's the Neogi!
These are the Neogi. They're dead.
Oh, those are the Neogi. Oh,
Yeah.
I had a totally different idea about what they might look like.
No, this is them. They're dead.
Those
You're
are the
gonna take
Neogi.
them back.
You killed dozens of those.
For some reason, I didn't think they'd be so fuzzy.
Yeah, it's I don't know.
Also, they appear to
but
be very badly burned.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So, I think you were supposed to come here and kill them, and if you brought back the bodies, they were going to let you stay.
Ah,
So
yes, we
you've officially-
discussed the deception.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
quite good at deception.
Yes. So you're just going to say, "Here you go. They're dead.
You see?
This is what you wanted."
You see, that is how good I am at deception. I lied to you and told you I was good at deception, and you didn't pick up on it at all. That is how good I am.
Oh, no.
Okay, so all you got to do is say, "Here they are. They're dead. Now we can stay."
Right?
These were
So
the
we
things
take-
that were killing the kobolds you sent here.
We say, here are the kobolds. They're
No.
no.
These are not kobolds. These are Neogi. You got to get that right.
Here are the Neogi. We were told to tell you they're dead.
Well,
No.
you could say that. I mean, but I don't know. I think they'd figure out they're dead. You don't have to tell them they're dead. They kind of have a smell at this point. You know, they're going to know they're dead.
Try, here are the Neogi we were sent to kill.
Ooh, that's good. Can you memorize that?
Here are the... one of the other Warforged comes over. You are recognizing this one as FAQ 93. Their role in the Warforged Union is scribe.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll take care of this.
Okay.
Oh, excellent!
I have a photographic memory. That's
great.
not a metaphor. My brain is literally a camera.
Okay.
Okay.
Ooh,
All right.
That
Well,
should
if you
work.
can get this to work, then it sounds like, you're all set.
I just need to install a flashbulb. Hold on. That was a joke.
Okay.
That was a joke.
Oh, okay. Because I think I might have one in my bag of holding.
Oh, wonderful. I could actually use a spare one of those if you have one.
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, I don't technically have that on my inventory,
What
but
follows
I'm
is-
an artificer.
What follows
I
is
have all
5 minutes.
sorts of...
What follows is 5 minutes of you going through everything you have that might be considered a flashbulb and trying to find if you have one that's compatible while everyone else sort of just mills around, like scuffing their feet and kicking small rocks. It's okay. It's okay. I don't really need one. It would just been a spare. It's okay. I collect them as all. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. No, that one's really nice. If I could borrow that looks really cool. I don't have a use for it, but that looks really neat. But no, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'll help our fearless, unconfused leader deliver the Neogi, and I'll say it for you. I will do this favor for you. You don't have to. Okay? Well, I don't see what the problem is. I enjoy public speaking. Yes, I am aware. Let me do this. We should probably put it to a vote.
You don't need a vote. You don't need a vote. A lot of
it's okay.
leaders
I
have
did put
someone
it to a
speak
vote.
for them because, the leader is so important. They can't be, bothered to speak to
No.
others like that. So
Yes,
they have
good leaders
someone-
delegate.
Scribe
Yeah.
is better. Your scribe knows how to do the bureaucracy bits that aren't the interesting talking.
Right,
Good
and that's what
news.
scribes are for. So, you got to let them do it.
As the scribe, I ran the vote, and it turns out they are in favor of me delivering the information. Oh, that is wonderful. Thank you. You are so helpful. Think nothing of it.
Wow.
I actually have a high deception check. What was that? Nothing.
Okay, so you're good.
Okay, so you have successfully delivered 2 Neogi corpses to the Warforged, and one can
Yes.
only hope that they're able to deliver them properly at this point. Because,
Nothing can go wrong with this plan.
well, Matt, you came in fairly recently. So when these Warforged were introduced, they were on a Terry Pratchett parody world.
Oh, gosh.
Yes.
They make the kobold look competent.
Mm-hmm.
They decided to form a union.
Yes.
things have gone sideways more than
Since
once
then.
since then.
There was
I
a
bet.
big battle involving that. So
Yes.
And we did not talk to the patrician, even to be annoying.
I did create that character so we could have had that conversation.
And I'm kind of sad that it didn't happen, but who knows, we might end up having to go back someday.
Well, unlike many civilizations that I have tossed the way of players in my campaigns, that one still exists. So there is a chance that you could go back, unlike a few others that have been encountered.
all right.
Okay. So while I do enjoy ending things on a cliffhanger, I am not going to do that tonight. I think this is a good beat to end it on. We've wrapped up a little subplot there. And next session, sure, off to the moonbeam.
Yay!
What could possibly go wrong with this encounter? That I've had
Lots
planned
of
for 2 years?
things!
Lots of things, yeah.
Well, yes, that's what makes it fun. So, thank you everyone for playing. Thank you everyone for listening. Tonight I've been joined by a bunch of awesome people, including Archbeth, Ellie, Io, Jen, Matt, Cindy. Eric was on for a while, but it's late and he had to go to bed. Let's do a few quick plugs. So Ellie runs a social network, elic.xyz, elekk.xyz. It runs on Mastodon, ActivityPub, all that wonderful stuff. So if you have a Mastodon account, you can follow many of us. Our social details are on the cast page, which is linked in the show notes for every one of these posts that I put out there. Io's mom writes books. You can get those at elizabeth-mccoy.com. Jen has a blog and podcast. The most recent thing as of this recording is Dreams. I will not go into more details here. But Dreams, and slightly jealous because I almost never remember mine.
Oh.
Yeah, well, it's a thing. Probably for the best. Who knows? But you can get that blog/podcast at bookofjen.net. Matt has a brother-in-law who also writes books. There's a lot of writers that are involved with my circle of friends, and I'm okay with this. You can get those books.
Someday I will be plugging mine. Someday.
Hey.
I'm looking forward to that day, whenever it occurs. But you can get Matt's brother-in-law's books at nogodsbeforeus.com. And we have a Patreon. You can help us keep the lights on because I'm putting a lot more money into server space and other things than we make from the Patreon. So it's like all hobbies. It is a bottomless pit that I'm attempting to fill with money, but I enjoy the process. Patreon.com/cogwheelgaming. You can give me more money to throw in that hole. I'm not selling this very well, but this is where we are. You can join other people who are trying to help me fill that bottomless pit, including Chris, Cindy, Ellie, and Eric. So, until next time, this is Crash saying, yes, I do believe that you were described as a hideous monster that we should all fear and loathe and possibly try to avoid in all cases. Oh, how lovely. Yes, I am a bit parched. I will gladly take one of these. Well, this is certainly a thing. You've been drinking this for 5 years, you say? 5 years. You do have my sympathies, good sir. We should, it probably wouldn't be too hard to take a short trip down to the surface. You could do with a nice meal. 5 years, you say? Five long years with this. It's been 5 minutes, and I feel a bit faint. All right, well, good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.